blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
I'm Tom Bain, and this is Wine, Money, and Song. If you're interested in wines and wanting to find out the best values, please subscribe. So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of Saint-Estèphe, Pauillac, and Saint-Julien in this episode. And these three areas have many of the classified growths. The next episode will be, after this, will be Margaux, Pauillac, and Sauternes. So let's start with Saint-Estèphe. Saint-Estèphe is the most northerly area in Bordeaux. And just to understand, Bordeaux region is in the southwest part of France. And it's near an industrial city. There's over 1.1 million people in the town of Bordeaux. And the town of Bordeaux is sort of like carved out. And then after you leave the city, it's very industrialized and heavily populated. And then you go out and it's all vineyards after that. But back to Saint-Estèphe. It has the heaviest soil. There's a lot of clay. And they make very sturdy wines, very tannic wines and very age-worthy wines. And they do blend in Merlot to soften it. And I remember when I started out, I enjoyed the Saint-Estèphe because they had more body and they were more tannic. And it made a more dramatic effect upon your palate. Now, the soil's rocky, clay, limestone, gravel, very, very rich soil. There's 56 chateaus in Saint-Estèphe, and they make about 600 cases of wine, 600,000 cases of wine a year. And the top producers of Saint-Estèphe are Montrose, Coestanel, and Calon-Segur. Those are the top producers. And there are a few lower price wines that I like. I like Menet a lot. And there are a few others that are out there that are inexpensive that are good. But very age-worthy wines. Then we go to the south, Pauillac, which is very rich soil also, but it's more of a mixture of sand and small gravel. The key thing with Pauillac is they're famous for having three first growths. They have Lafite Rothschild, we have Mouton Rothschild. Very, very, those are wines of royalty. And you have Chateau Latour, of course. And those three are three of the most famous red wines in the world. Now, there's 550,000 cases of wine made a year in Pauillac. And to the northern part of Pauillac, it's sandy. And it's in the north, it's sandy, clay. And south, it's like just a mixture. And you can tell the difference between Lafite and Latour. Latour is more clay and more sturdy, and Lafite is more elegant because the sandy and gravelly soil. And famous wines besides those first growth, Pichon Lalande, Lynch-Bages, and Grand Prix Lacoste. These are three of my favorites. And there are some others that people would like, Léoville Poifferet, that's Saint-Julien, excuse me. Lynch-Bages and Pichon Lalande, Léoville Lacoste and Léoville Poifferet are in Saint-Julien. And we're going to go to Saint-Julien now. And Saint-Julien, as I said in the past, is a favorite area of mine. There's so many good wines there. And the major wines there, there's super seconds there. The super seconds are Lève Lascasse, Du Croubeau Caillou. They're the famous, and I consider Lève Barton also a super second. And those are outstanding, age-worthy wines. But the styles can be very different in Saint-Julien. It can be very big and robust, like Lève Lascasse's. And Lève Barton's big and rich and concentrated. While the soil's limestone, gravel, sand, and clay, it's there's like a mixture. You can get lighter, more elegant wines to the south, and wines that I love that are elegant in Saint-Julien are and of really great value too are Chateau Lagrange, Chateau Braner du Cru, excellent wines, and Lango Barton, which is very different in style than the Lève Barton, which is much richer. The last 10 years or so, Lango Barton has been producing some really elegant and suave and very beautiful wines, and for under $50 a bottle. Amazing value. Those three wines I just mentioned. And the thing about Saint-Julien is over 90% of the wines that are produced in Saint-Julien are classified in the 1855 classification, and that is the highest of any of the appellations. And we're going to go to Margaux next, which is to the south. And Margaux makes 600,000 cases a year. There's 80 chateaus. There's a lot of chateaus there. And there's 21 classified wines in Margaux. I would say at least half of them don't deserve to be there. The most disappointing appellation in in Bordeaux to me is Margaux. There's a lot of second growths. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't even be classified, some of them. That's my opinion. But in the last 10 years or so, they're making much better wines in Margaux. And they're on an upward stance, but you have wines like the top wines are Haut-Brion, obviously, and Haut-Brion was the only Grave wine and wine from the south of Bordeaux that was considered for the 1855 classification. Later on, I think it was 1955, they classified Grave, but it's not looked at. People don't pay attention to that. They pay attention to the 1855 classification. And then you have Le Mission Haut-Brion, which is not classified, which is owned by Haut-Brion now, the same owners. And they make an outstanding wine that is at least of second growth quality and could be even certain vintages first growth quality. Some of the other wines that I like from Grave, I love Domaine de Chevalier, both they're red and white, but for the last 30 or 40 years, they make incredible wines. Domaine de Chevalier, and I buy them. I buy them almost every vintage, every good vintage. And we have Les Carmes Haut-Brion is the next hot wine that in the last 5 years or so, they're making very prolific wines with a large amount of Cab Franc in them. And we're going to see if they're going to be up at that level, but they're getting very, very, very good reviews. And we're going to go to Sauternes and Barsac next. and that's to the south at the bottom of the left bank, all the way at the bottom of Bordeaux. And Sauternes makes sweet white wines generally, and they use Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc, and the process of them, there's a virus that infects the grapes and inoculates them, and it's called botrytis, and it makes the wines much more concentrated and sweet and nectar-like. And the wines are just heavenly, and they age for a long period of time. If you've never had Sauternes, you should really try a bottle after dinner sometime. Now, the famous wines are Chateau Yquem, which is without doubt considered to be the best Sauternes, and there's even no one as close to them, in my opinion. Then you have Reissac, Soudereau, and Climont, which Climont's a Barsac, and they make incredibly age-worthy wines, and that's the left bank.